Welcome. Thank you very much for clicking on the link to this video. I know how hard it is to get you to click a link and go away from whatever you were doing before. So I just want to start by saying thank you for giving me your valuable time. And in the spirit of not wasting your time, we're going to dive straight into everything that I'm going to be filling you in on. I'm going to be perfectly honest right now. This is the second edit of this webinar. And the reason for that is because since I did the initial webinar to walk you through everything that is inside my masterclass, I've added so much that I need to kind of do a new intro and a new ending. Currently, we are offering a very, very significant discount, which I'll tell you about at the end, for the first 50 people who are going to be signing up at this moment from this point. If it turns out you didn't make it into the first 50, don't worry. There is still going to be a very significant discount after that until the course has completed all of the new stuff that I've added. And I'm going to tell you that stuff right now. I have included an entire second set of courses to my masterclass showing the recording process of all of the songs, all of the choices, the drums, bass, guitars, electrics, solos, vocals, harmonies, everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, let's try that. Little movement. Do we like that when we just hung over it? The thing that
I think
that
so.
was the right way?
Someone's got to do that. Might as well be you.
Okay. There's nothing happening in the melody there, and maybe there'll be a little guitar line.
Sure. Yeah.
But I'm thinking... Yep, let's do that. That's a good idea. Good idea. Good idea.
We do things in order around here.
Good idea. This is what happens when you spend too many days in the studio in a row. You start talking in weird voices to yourself. You're going to see a little bit of that later in the webinar. And then you're going to get the offer of the discount, and you'll have the choice of starting your 14-day trial, which is totally free. And you can just, if it turns out that you're not interested, then you know, if it wasn't for you, then you get your refund. So it's very risk-free. The other thing that I wanted to put at the beginning here is I don't really like to talk about myself too much, and I really don't like to talk about my credits. I prefer to talk about my craft and what I'm doing and the choices that I make. But a bunch of people gave me feedback and said, you should really talk about your credits at the beginning. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes to tell you my story of how I got to where I am. And then that's going to lead into the next part of the webinar, which is going to be in my studio at home. Right now, we're in the studio in Vegas at Deadbeat Studios, where I'm recording all of these songs. And later on, once the entire course is complete, we're going to chop this out and put back in the original introduction and everything. And we'll be doing that. But right now, it's going to be a little bit more relaxed. So I'm going to start telling you a little bit about my history. I was raised in the back of theaters, okay? I was raised by actors. And so the Stanislavski method of acting was taught to me like a second language. And the Stanislavski method of acting is the type of craft that Robert De Niro used, Al Pacino used. It's basically the greatest foundation that you can have for creating a character's story. I did a lot of acting when I was a kid, and then I fell in love with music. And when I fell in love with music, I was able to parlay all of that knowledge into my songs, into the craft of writing songs. By 17, I got a record deal. My band Sick Puppies released our first album, did pretty well. And then we decided when I was about 22 years old, we're going to move over to the States and we're going to give it a shot. And that's where the real story begins of the credits and stuff, because we moved over to the States and I borrowed $30,000 from the bank. I lied to the bank to get I got my dad to co-sign even though he couldn't afford the repayments. And we had like 30 grand to live there for as long as we could possibly to try to get a record deal. After about a year and a half, we had showcased to every major label. They had all passed. They had all said the same thing. You guys are great, but you're missing something. And I would ask them, what? And they would say, we don't know, call us if you find it. And so there was this piece missing, and I had been doing everything I could think of. I had been writing songs, working with producers, learning all of this great information about songwriting and performance and craft and everything. And we had really given it our best shot, but it wasn't landing. And we were very close to running out of money and going home and becoming another casualty of, like another statistic in these types of stories. So before I'd come over to the US to start pursuing this dream really of, being a rock star and everything, I used to hold a sandwich board sign in Pitt Street Mall in Sydney. And I would wedge the sign into a crate. I would sit on the crate and I would write lyrics to my songs. And one day there was this guy walking up and down the street. He had a free hug sign and he was giving out free hugs. And I thought this is a great idea for a documentary. I had just seen Super Size Me, which was a big hit documentary. And I was like, oh, I think I want to make a documentary. So I started filming him with my dad's camera. And we filmed it for a little while and nothing ever really came of it, but we kept in touch. We became very good friends. So I would call him from the States and I would be like, hey man, my life sucks. Capital just passed the second time. I don't know if we're going to make it. And then another month would go by. Hey man, Sony passed. Man, it's really not working out. This sucks. My life sucks. My life sucks. And I would call him and complain and I would decompress and then I'd get on with it. And then one day, the second time that Sony called, when it was really the last straw, I called him. I'm like, yo, man, Sony passed again. I don't know what I'm going to do. My life sucks. And he said, my grandmother just died. She's upstairs and I need to figure out what to do with the body. And I was immediately ripped out of my selfish ego, my baggage, right? And I was like, oh my God, I need to get home. I got to help him. Like, this is my friend. This is my brother. And I couldn't get home in time. We didn't have enough money. It was like I was between a rock and a hard place. So I did the only thing that I could really think to do, which was to stop making music and videos for myself and make one for him, to send to him, to give him the feeling of a hug, because that's all I really wanted to do, was to give him a hug. And I made this video called the Free Hugs video in one night, put it on a DVD, mailed it to him at the time because you couldn't send the files that big at the time. And everybody who saw this video said, this is really great. This makes me feel like I'm getting a hug. I get a really good feeling from watching this video. You should put it on this new website called YouTube. And so we did. And it got 750,000 views in the first weekend. And then they took the video down. And we got a call from YouTube. And they said, what is this video? Who is this guy? Who is this band? Is this a video clip? Is it a home movie? What is this? This is growing faster than anything we've seen. We want to make sure we don't get sued because we're still a startup company. So we gave them all of the information and they said, oh, great. So it's kind of like a music video, but not really, whatever. They put it up on the front page. It got 1 million views a week for 8 weeks. Jay Leno called, Oprah Winfrey called, CNN called, 60 Minutes called, and every record label who had passed on us called. And we were able to get into a bidding war, and we eventually signed with Capitol Records. After that, we became the Free Hugs Band. And we knew that this was the moment. So we put the pedal to the metal, and we got on tour, and we grinded for 5 straight years. And I toured with all my favorite bands. I'm gonna rattle off the names because a bunch of people said I should, drop my credits and everything. Normally, it's not really my style, but we toured with Evanescence, Nickelback, Three Doors Down, 3 Days Grace, Shinedown, Papa Roach, Iron Maiden. Played festivals with Slipknot and Limp Bizkit, and the list goes on and on and on. Right? So we played with all those bands and toured, and we also were able to earn a platinum record for the second release, which was called Tripolar. It had platinum downloads, gold records for singles, about 10 charting singles over the course of 5 or 6 years. And the band had a really great run. And over the course of this, I really learned how to sing live, how to control an audience, how to perform and connect with a crowd of people. It got to the point where the label would actually send me their other up-and-coming bands. They would put their up-and-coming bands on tour with Sick Puppies and say, watch what Shim does and talk to Shim about your show and see if you can get some coaching on how, because he's basically, the joke was, he doesn't stop. He doesn't cancel shows. He never runs out of steam. He never loses his voice. There's always great feedback. It's like they wanted every one of their artists to be doing things the way that I was doing them. And it came from my acting background, the mindset that the show must go on and that you're only as good as your last show, and all of these things that come up, and also the way that I would approach my performance, because I actually created a different character for my stage persona. I did not talk like this on stage, and when I would get off stage, I did not scream, "Put your hands in the air," and all this sort of stuff, right? So it was a different character, and all of this stuff is now going to be put into the Masterclass, right? So the Masterclass originally began as just about songwriting. It has now evolved from songwriting into performance, how you phrase every syllable and the reasons that you phrase every single word that you sing and choice that you make with progressions, chords, performance, all of it. Everything I've ever learned is in this class. And I've also decided to add in the production of several of the songs that are written. Now, you're going to see me talk a little bit about the lockdown sessions, which is when the pandemic happened. I actually started a live songwriting sort of live stream where I would write songs collaboratively with the people who were on the stream from all over the world. And they would give me their lyrics and I would put them together in songs and I would explain why I was making the choices that I was making. And we wrote about 20 songs together. And now I'm producing about 10 of those songs from the ground up. And I'm documenting all of it. And you're going to have access to all of it so that you can see every choice of why I would do one thing versus another thing and how it leads from the very beginning of the genesis of an idea all the way through to the finished product. This type of thing has never been done. I can't find a course like this. The reason I wanted to create it is because I was aware that I had a large wealth of experience and it just seemed like a waste not to put it into a course so that if people wanted to learn how to do the things that I do, they had access to all the information. Normally, people who have my level of experience, they're either still trying to do it or they're just not interested in putting the time and energy into putting it into a course, or they charge $10,000 an hour to record labels to come in and coach their artists, and it's really more of a money grab. I wanted to just do it for people who wanted, I wanted to do it for the version of myself when I was 16. If I could have seen my favorite singers making all their choices and doing everything that they wanted to do, from the very beginning, it would have been very valuable to me. It would have saved me a lot of time and heartache. So you're going to see through the rest of the webinar, I'm going to touch on some of these things. The second thing that I wanted to point out, I'm going to go to my notes real quick. I made a cheat sheet of notes, is that if you hear me talking about Discord, this is a community, okay? The class is one thing. The other part of the Shim Masterclass is a community called the Hollywood Rebellion. And the Hollywood Rebellion exists because we do things in there that you wouldn't be allowed to do if you were signed to a record label. I can only do this because I'm fully independent, which is why I appreciate your time in supporting my endeavors. So inside the Hollywood Rebellion is, it came from the lockdown sessions. It came from collaborative songwriting. And inside that community, that's where you're going to have the opportunity to, in a safe space that's non-toxic, to put your ideas forward, build your craft, find people to collaborate with, find other people who can give you constructive feedback in ways that you hadn't really thought about it. There's regular coaching calls that I'm going to introduce you to one of the coaches shortly later in the webinar. And there's a lot of support for what you want to do. However, if you hear me say the word Discord, we just moved over to Kajabi because that's where Ken Tamplin and Tim Pierce and a lot of people, it's just a better platform. So if you hear me say Discord, just think the community section of Kajabi. It's all the same thing. It's just a better service to you when you get inside. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to flip over to the original recording of the webinar where I go into a little bit more detail of why I built this and what you can expect from the individual pieces. You're going to get a taste of the courses. You're going to get a little taste of all the sections in there. We're going to show you a few pieces. You're going to get a lot of free content and a lot of value. So that being said, let's check it out.
What is your motto here?
The mission statement of the Hollywood Rebellion is to bring value back to music. I'm going to explain why. When I started listening to music, music was the most valuable thing in my life. Okay, I'll tell you a story actually. This will give you a good idea of how important music was to me, all right? And I just thought of this now. This wasn't scripted. One of my most vivid childhood memories is having Bad on cassette, Michael Jackson's Bad on cassette, and I would listen to it when my dad was out of the house. I would crank that shit up and I would dance around and I would do the moves and I would sing and I would do the whole thing, right? I used to sing into the remote control of the TV, the remote control for the TV. And one time my dad, on like a Saturday afternoon, he was like, hey, I'm going over to a friend's house down the street. Do you want to come or do you want to stay here? And I was like, in my head, I'm like, this is my chance. This is my opportunity to do it. I said, nah, you go. I'm just going to stay and do whatever. So he left and I could not find the tape. I'd left it somewhere, I couldn't find it. So instead I sat in the middle of the living room and cried by myself until he came home an hour later. And he came home, he was like, what happened? He was really scared, like, what happened? I said, I can't find bed. And he laughed at me because it's so funny. And I was mortified that he would laugh at my pain, but that's how much I needed music. That's how much I loved music, right? And he still, to this day, never lets me live it down. So flash forward to, around 2000, I'm 18 and I'm like, I'm going to be a professional musician. I'm going to make music. But this was right when the internet, Napster, and the technology of file sharing had really just started. By 2005, when we moved over to the States with my band Sick Puppies, we knew that music was being devalued as a monetary product, as a financial instrument. People were not paying for music the same way. But what I didn't really anticipate was that over the period of time that music was not being paid for, over a little while, the people started to not value it emotionally as much. They still did, but people who were coming up, people who were forming their new attachment to music, they didn't have that. Not having to pay for it meant that you didn't really have to pay for it. You didn't have to go and work your job and allocate some funds, and instead of buying a movie ticket or buying new shoes, you bought a few CDs because you valued music. So what also happened was I saw it from both sides of the equation. I saw people who worked in the music business, on the music business side, the record label side, the performers side, they saw the money disappearing and their value within themselves started to go down. And their value in their jobs, people were getting fired from record labels. Record labels were buying up other record labels. Everything was eating itself. And as a result, the way that people made music became very stale, which is why from 2010 to 2018, when things were really bad, like 2008 to 2016 was when things were really, really bad because streaming hadn't picked up yet. Music was stale and boring and lame and everyone knew it. At least pop, anything that was pop music, anything coming out of a record label sucked. And it still does to a degree, but there was a noticeable reason, but I had a very unique perspective on the equation because I could see the reason that music sucked was not because the musicians didn't want to try. It was that the labels were too scared to try new things. They were not willing to risk their jobs because if someone who worked at a record label said, I want to try this new thing and I think it could be great, but it doesn't really sound like anything else, their boss would say, are you willing to risk your job? Because you only get one shot. And if we lose money, I'm firing you. And so no one did it. Everyone just said, I'm not willing to take the risk. So everything so the value of music was going down, down, down. So I recognized this and I kind of pulled out for a while. I was like, look, if no one's going to let me make the music I want to make, I'll do it myself. And then I'll just do things that make me happy. And it always comes back to writing songs, which is why this course exists now. So the idea of bringing value back to music is a two-prong mission statement. One is to help artists learn how to financially manage their brand and to monetize their music. But more importantly, it really is about, and by the way, I'm not talking about how to get 1 million streams on Spotify. I'm talking about how to have a mindset towards creating and treating your fans with respect and giving them value, not just how to go viral. But more importantly, it's about, people have kind of lost, not everyone, but a lot of people have lost the art of how to really craft a great song and how to spend an extra 20% living in it and really making it great, and how to be fearless and how to dig into previous experiences and put them into words and into music. And so that's the thing that I've had the great fortune of learning. So I wanted to put it in this course so that I could teach people who really want to do that the mechanisms, the structures, and the systems so that they can build a place for themselves within the Hollywood Rebellion, but also in their own lives, where they can take their experience and say, I have this idea, I really want it to sound like it does in my head, and I want it to be that great. How do I get there? So that they can really realize the full potential of their ideas. That's the mission statement of the Hollywood Rebellion. So, now that that's been said, let's go into your first module, the free module, where you'll get a really good layout and understanding of all the pieces that are inside the masterclass. Why music? The reason that you enrolled in this course is most likely because you want to write songs. If you want to play music, you can play other people's songs. But if you want to write, that's why this is a songwriting masterclass, okay? And most people want to write songs to sing them, right? I'm assuming 90 to 95% of you guys are like, well, I want to write songs that I can sing. Maybe you have a singer, but you still want to play them. You still want to stand next to the singer, play guitar and do backup or whatever if you're in a band or whatever. So why would you ever want to do this to yourself? There are millions of creative outlets. You could be a painter or a sculptor or a actor or a writer or anything. For some reason, you gravitated towards music. Okay, there's a reason that you chose music over everything else, and you might think that it's because you think that music is the ultimate language and that it's the highest form of art, or that music is the thing that connected you to your parents in some way. And that might be true to a degree, but that doesn't mean that you should have to want to write your own songs. It might be, I love going to concerts and listening to music, or I love playing covers. You want to write your own songs, and you want to play your own songs. And there's a reason. The reason is this. You're so great. What a great song. I'm so glad you wrote that song. You're awesome because you wrote that song. Clap, clap, clap. That's why you want to write music. It's that simple, okay? People make up a whole bunch of excuses as to why they want to write music. I have met all sorts of people in the music business over the years that I've been here. The people who want to sing their own songs have a screw loose, and it's not a negative thing. Sometimes it's a negative, sometimes it's positive, but the screw's always loose. And the thing is that they are drawn deeply to the fact of, I want people to clap, okay? Now, you might con yourself into thinking that you want something else, like, I just want to make people happy. No, when they clap, that's just the natural reaction, Shim. Remember you were talking about every action has an opposite and equal reaction. That's the reaction that comes because I made them so happy. So what I truly want, the type of person that I am, Shim, in my chesticles, is I want to make people happy. I want to bring joy to the world, because that's what I get when I see people who make music. They bring joy to the world, and I want to bring joy to the world. I want to make people happy. Can you see how fake her smile is and how much of a liar you are if you say this? Because the truth is, you better be ready for a bitter pill. If you wanted to just make people happy, why aren't you doing this? If it was just about making people happy, why aren't you volunteering and delivering food and helping at children's hospitals if it's just to make people happy? If it means nothing to you, if you are such a Mother Teresa, if you're such a fucking saint, no. The truth is, and there's nothing wrong with it in theory, but you need to accept it and you need to embrace it, okay? So for example, you might go to the next one and go, okay, Shim, okay, fine, I want something in return, big deal. What's the big deal? Why? What? Look, so what? I want to put out something and I want to get something in return. Does that make me a sinner? No. But it goes to the next thing of, well, why? If that's the case, why don't you make a product that brings joy to people, like some sort of herbal tea with antioxidants, and then get paid money? Because then you get a nice thing back in return, right? But people don't do this. They don't do this when you deliver food to them. They don't do this when you make a nice product and you bring value to their life because they paid you money, right? It's just, this only happens with music or at the end of a performance on a stage in a microphone. That's the only time people clap. So, why music? I just want to make them love me. You might be the exception, and if you are, just skip. But the chances are you're not. And maybe there's a little part of you that I just pinged, that I just tweaked, because the truth is, the reason you picked music is because you want people to love you. And there's nothing wrong with that. The reason that most of us do anything is because we want people to love and accept us. It's human nature, and we're going to go into why it's human nature in the next course. But you have to think, okay, why do you want people to love you? Why can't it just be well, I want people to like me, or I don't care if they love me, man. Like, bro, like, I don't care what people think, bro. Why do you want people to love you so much? Your ego. Now, I know that this might sound obvious, but your ego is not just this inflated big head thing. The ego is an entire there's a concept of an alter ego. It's an alternate version of yourself, and it exists for a reason. So you need to learn who he is or she is, figure out how to navigate that so that you can be of the best service as a songwriter. Because if you don't, you're going to write the sort of music that you hate, the sort of music that takes up space, the sort of music that sounds like this, right? This. I keep pointing to the wrong side. And this is not what you want, right? So the why is the same for everyone. You make music because you want people to love your music, which means they love you, right? And that's why you want to make it. If it wasn't that, you wouldn't do it. You'd deliver food, or you'd play in a cover band, or, you know, you can get that response too. This is the thing as well. We're going to go to the next section, but this is the thing that people don't really think about, okay? And you really do need to think about this. And we're going to do a whole section on how it works and why and all that sort of stuff. If you, excuse me, if you wanted people to just applaud, you play in a cover band, and you'd have a drink, and you'd get laid, and you'd throw a party, and then you go back to work on Monday morning. If it was just about having fun, if it was just about the love of music and having a good time, you chose to write songs because you want to connect with other people, and the response that you want to get from them is, I love you. I just love the way you say that. I love you. I'm so glad you're here to write these songs. I'm so glad you exist. Right? There's a deep thing inside songwriters specifically, and artists of all kinds, but like a songwriter is an artist. The guy who sings songs on the weekends, cover artists, they're not artists. And there's no judgment on that. It's much easier to do that. But if you're an artist, then this is the mindset. And this goes for painters and writers and actors and everything. There's all different versions of it, but it's still the same thing. I'm going to make this stuff. It's an extension of me. So therefore, when people love it, they love me. And they're glad that I'm around to make more things like this. So that's why we create. Now, we're going to go even, I know that you might be like, dude, I just wanted to learn how to string some chords together and what? What's what you really wanted to do is you wanted to string some chords together and learn how to write a melody on top of it. Why? So you could sing the song and people would do this and go, oh, I love you. You're great. I'm so glad you wrote that song. That song speaks to me. And you want that reaction. Your highest probability of getting that reaction is making friends with this. Understanding and embracing this. Really knowing how it works, why you're doing it, and also understanding it so that you can play to other people's egos. You are a student of the human condition. That's your job. And your language of choice is music to communicate these ideas. So you need to understand the ideas that you're working with, and you need to understand how to best communicate them. So why you will only ever be able to write songs as deep as you can go. That's why there's so much surface music. That's why there's so much music that you don't like. Because you're like, this doesn't mean anything. Because they don't know these things that we're going to be talking about in the masterclass. So please bear with me, because all of this matters. Okay? Now, let's go to the next section. When I first started learning how to play guitar, I had 3 teachers, and none of them taught me very well, until I found the 4th teacher. The 4th teacher said, I'm not going to teach you notation or any of that stuff. Just bring me your favorite songs, and I'll teach you how to play them. And it worked. I just fell in love with playing guitar. I couldn't put it down, and I learned Green Day and Silverchair and Nirvana, and then started writing my own songs that all sounded exactly like Green Day and Nirvana. But the point is that it worked, right? So the homework has been structured in a way that you are going to get the experience and the information the same way you would if you went over to a friend's house and their mum cooked you the world's most amazing soup. The sort of soup that you just went, oh my God, I need to know how you made this. And then the mum would say, sure, here's the recipe. Here's everything that I did to make that experience happen, right? You have a visceral memory of your 10 favorite songs. Those 10 favorite songs of yours create an experience. You have a sense memory to them. They take you back in time. You have an attachment to them, and you think you know every single part of that song, okay? The reason that we're going to use those songs for our homework is because there is a recipe to those songs. Now, you might think you know the whole recipe. You probably only know 20 to 40% of it. And what we're going to do is we're going to treat that song like a whole, right? The experience is the whole, your experience, the thing that you're deeply attached to, that you fully understand. And then we're going to reverse engineer it by pulling out all of the little puzzle pieces that made it up. And we're going to identify every single piece of alliteration, soft rhyme versus hard rhyme, structuring, sense memory, emotional recall, every single thing that goes in there as a song. Every choice they made, every piece of space that was created that didn't have music or didn't have lyrics or whatever, every single thing that made that song. And you're going to start to see, oh, I didn't realize how much energy and effort went into this and how much all of those little pieces really contribute to the whole, right? To the whole experience. The reason this is going to be really valuable for you is because when you get to the point inside the Discord and inside the community where you are creating your own songs, you are going to make mistakes. You are going to have a great opening line or a great hook for the end of the chorus. And what most people do when they write songs is they take their great part and then they try to get to it, or they try to get past it. And usually what that means is you have one A+ part and then a whole bunch of B's and a couple of C's, right? You need to get the whole song to A+. So when you get stuck, you go back to your cheat sheet. And then whenever there's a, hey, listen, the middle part is, there's a lull, or I can't think of a really interesting rhyme, but I'm kind of stuck. I've tried all the tricks that I knew before. There's a million pieces of information that are going to be here where you can just take this little ingredient and put it in your song. But you need to know what the ingredients are, and more importantly, how they were applied and why. Then you'll be able to use them in your songs, because just knowing that something exists isn't enough. You need to know what it is, you need to know how it gets applied, and then you need to know why it was applied so you don't use it in the wrong place every single time, like all the things that you've probably heard or done yourself, where you write a song and you go, oh, that one thing that I did worked really well.
Yeah, bitch!
Let's do that 20 times. And you have 20 songs that use the same idea, and then even you get bored of it. The homework has been structured in a way that is supposed to be super fun and really satisfying, so that you really stick to it and you really get the most out of it. And you also you get a cheat sheet to be able to move forward with. It's not just ticking some boxes and saying, okay, I did the homework. It is deeply valuable. You'll be able to take it with you for the rest of your songwriting career, and you'll be able to elaborate and evolve on it constantly. Every time you hear a song that you love, you can take 5 or 10 minutes and apply all of these techniques to reverse engineer it and go, oh, I didn't know that, that's a really good idea. I never thought of that. Boom, you put it in your toolbox, put it in your cheat sheet. Now it's time for the lockdown session highlights. This is where I take everything you learned from the masterclass and I apply it. This is unsurpassed. There is nothing like this in the world, okay? No one else is offering 120 hours of live songwriting sessions in real time, showing you and educating you on every single choice that I made and why. These were edited for fun and entertainment value, but you're going to get a really good idea. Plus, there's a little bit of language in it, so you'll just have to deal with that, because that's how I flow when I'm in the flow of trying to create. But they're very fun, but you'll really get a good idea of the educational value that's in there. You'll get a good idea of what I'm applying and how I'm doing it and stuff like that. But also the fact that it makes the educational journey a lot of fun. And it really needs to be, because some of these ideas can be challenging. It's very easy to go, well, I've done a little bit and I've tried and I've got a couple of good ideas, so that's where I'll stop. And you need to keep pushing, and you need to keep trying, and you need to feel safe, and it needs to be fun. It needs to be simple, easy, and fun. And if it's not, the music doesn't really come. At least it doesn't fully come to fruition. Check out the highlights reel. It's heaps of fun, and then I'll meet you back here in a minute. What's coming in? What's coming in? Anything else gonna happen? Anything else gonna happen? We got one more channel. What about this one? It's the down tempo track has won, ladies and gentlemen. Either it's a breakup song or it's a I'm moving on with my life song. Now what we need is song title ideas. And it's My New Tomorrow. I had a feeling that one might win, but I'm glad we did it together. The new tomorrow is our objective. It is where we are going. There is no option except to go there. I don't have a melody for this song either. I got nothing. So this is uncharted territory for all of us. First line needs to go like da 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 do 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 da 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 do. When I threw out a lifeline, nothing would ever come. I don't know why, but that just seems like everyone feels like that right now. Am I right or am I right or am I right? Right. I think I'm right.
Well, you're not wrong.
Oh, this is gonna be good, guys. This is gonna be good. I hope you're feeling good. I hope you're feeling good. I know I am. I kept my mouth shut for so long. Flip it for real.
Flip you.
My new tomorrow is starting today. We can't do undone. I know someone's gonna throw in undone.
We're undone.
Undone sucks because no one says undone.
Undone, I tell you.
What's next? What's the next line gonna be?
Sweep the ashes of the past away.
Da 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 da. Then we'll flip it on the next thing.
Flip you.
I thought that I was broken. I thought that I was done.
I'm done.
Starting today. That's a today. There's a today. Nay. We're gonna go to one of the other pinned lyrics from the beginning that has a totally different fucking dibbity-bitty-doo. And we're gonna try and shake it up a little bit. My new tomorrow is starting today. What's a horse sound like? What's a horse sound like? This is your time to shine, man. Your mistakes can be called poetic license. Oh. You can't change me. You can't change me. I've just decided I'm doing something and you can't change me. I don't agree with any of you. I think change me is better and we should flip it to the second half.
Flip you. Oh, that's high.
I'm personally very proud of that. I'm very proud of the work we just did. I am a loud, passionate, over-the-top person. All the best of me wouldn't exist without the worst of me. So you have to accept it, and I think that's what this song is about.
I kept my mouth shut so long now that I can hardly breathe.
Doesn't that hurt?
Can we sum up the entire concept of forgiveness in 12 syllables? Challenge.
Future seems to shine so bright in my unsteady hand.
I like that. Working on the song right now. We need the title. The idea of throwing up the title is a very simple way to just sort of throw your hat in the ring. Dark Corners of My Mind, Stanky Pete. Smoke and Mirrors, I like. Cloak and Dagger. Nightmare, Bless, you are stepping your shit up every week. High Desert, I like it. Privacy is an Illusion. Mirages, that's poetic and interesting and it has a good imagery to it. Lady Grey Doom has Behind the Mask, I like that. Diabolical, rhyming diabolical, that's gonna be interesting. Love and Affection ends in rejection. Who broke your fucking heart, babe? Everybody Lies. I don't know why, but I really like that. A Liar's Truth. That's really interesting, dude. Everybody Lies and A Liar's Truth. Starting the poll. I'm gonna give you guys 1 minute. Get your votes in. Go. A Liar's Truth is winning by 90%. If anyone wants Everybody Lies to win, get your votes in. A Liar's Truth is the name of the song, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Lyric time. First line of the song. The reason that first line of the song is important is because I have to sing it no matter what the fuck you guys come up with.
You gotta do it, man.
Ego-driven, never forgiven, stuck in your own reality. Reality. I thought I knew you, but it wasn't true. I'm gonna pin that. I'm telling the truth when I tell you I'm lying. That's an idea. I live with the lessons of a liar's truth. I like that as an opening line.
I'm telling the truth when I tell you I'm lying.
Because I've made some bad decisions.
Cause I've made some bad decisions.
Let's keep bad decisions and find something better for the first line. Or flip it.
Flip you.
And find something better for the second line.
That's life, but I keep on living. But you can't kill my vision. That's life, no revision. Cause I've made some bad decisions. That's life, no revisions.
I set us quite a challenge on this one.
What can you do but lie till it's true?
Oh shit. What about that? Noise. Okay, cool. Noise. And then we're gonna loop it like Gypsy said. Loop that sucker! Loop that sucker! We gotta pivot. Pivot! Just wanna let everyone know I'm taking a passive back seat on this one. What do you guys got? It's on you. It's your song. Oh, you're confused where I'm going with the cadence? So am I. We haven't found it yet. Blood from a stone. Okay, that's cadence. Good cadence, procrastinating Pat. Pivot! Help me out. What do you think works better? Do we flip it on the third line or do we flip it on the fourth line? Flip it on the third, flip it on the third. Flip it for real.
Flip you.
Da 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 da.
No, sing it better than the original. Better, not worse.
Da 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 da.
A liar's truth is the definition of truth to the individual. We need a little ba-ba-da-ba. It goes back to that idea of it's easy to be honest with someone when you're lying to yourself. Pivot! I just realized it sucks. A liar's truth becomes weaponized. Oh my god, that could be amazing.
Right now it's a sign of the times when a liar's truth can be weaponized.
You came up with a great line that we were working on, and then someone else came with a better line, and without hesitation, you just said weaponized is better. Are you going to become a regular at the Hollywood Rebellion? Because I like your style.
So we choke down on the joke now. We choke down.
We're broke, no! Like that, Shim. Like, no! Like that.
Are you ready for war? You know there ain't no black or white anymore. 'Cause we're ready for war. For war.
It's not in key. It's not even technically a note. That war needs to be better. Nah, man, that's what's making the record. I sung it once, and we're just gonna put it on a record and throw it on the radio, because that's how it works. Squirrel!
'Cause I've been abused, but there's no use in crying.
Deceiving the youth while the world is on fire, selling versions of truth to ignorant buyers. And that's a haiku.
Deceiving the youth while the world is on fire.
That's such a dope line.
Versions of truth to ignorant buyers.
I think that's a really good example of collaboration. That's like 4 different people's lines blended perfectly into a fucking idea.
That's life, no revisions.
You think you're writing one song and then it flips it on you. It's fucking intense, but it's perfect. Same old shit, different day. I'd love to quit, but I need to pay. That's actually pretty fucking good, Jason. But we need to make it through the day to get to the weekend. We've already established that we're going to be going to the weekend. So we need to get through it. We just need to have obstacles and struggles on the way. Create adversity to have a story. There is no drama without conflict. My headache's just begun. I like that. Stanky, that's a good one. Working late, overtime, make $1, keep a dime. Fucking Jason, holy shit. Jason is dropping it today. That is dope. We want the kiddies to be able to enjoy the song and be like, I wonder what it'll be like when I'm working for the man and paying taxes and having my soul slowly destroyed over the course of my young adulthood.
And I can feel it in my plums, feel it in my plums.
Love this hook.
Feel it in my plums, feel it in my plums.
I think we need to air, care, there, bear, air, ser, dare, lair, care, bear, near, quest. Need a stripper and a beer. That's tight. That fucking rocks.
To get my stripper and a beer.
Stanky Pete throwing ones for the stripper. How we're crafting this like it's some sort of Latin poetry. Shall it be to get my stripper or a beer, or to go to, or with my? Here, hey Shim, pass me a beer. I can't say hey Shim because it sounds like flip it for real, like I've got 2 personalities or something. Bully!
When will this week be done?
Love this. Now let's talk about your coaching, okay? Obviously, you're going to be working with me, but in between that, I wanted to be able to give you more value for things that maybe I don't know, right? There's a lot of things that I don't know. Derek Jones is a dear friend of mine. I've been working with him for a few years now, and there are things that I've learned off Derek that I didn't know that I needed to know. Derek graduated from the Berklee School of Music. He's taught me things about production, about engineering, about mixing, about publishing, about music business, about rights allocations, about how to collect. Things about music business and music creation that I really was like, I wish I'd known this 10 years ago. So I wanted to make him available to you so that as you evolve and you say, I think I want to try this thing, or I think I want to, approach labels or try a new style of music or mix my stuff better or anything that there is. Derek is an absolutely invaluable resource. Apart from the fact that he knows so much, he's also an excellent teacher and he really loves talking about this stuff. So with that said, I'm going to pass it over to him for a second to just tell you a little bit about himself.
Hi everyone, I'm Derek. I'm a musician, songwriter, composer, sound engineer, and music producer. For the last 21 years, I've worked for a company called Megatracks as their vice president of music production. Megatracks is the largest independently owned production music library in the United States and one of the largest in the world. Our music gets used in over 110 countries every single day. You cannot watch YouTube or Netflix or Hulu or ABC, NBC, CBS or films or anything without hearing something that I've worked on. In addition to working for Megatracks, I'm also a freelance music producer and sound engineer, and I work on records for record labels and indie artists, and I also work on songs specifically for films or TV shows with artists as kind of like a custom thing where they need a custom song for a TV show or a film or a TV commercial. In my 30 plus years in this industry, I've done over 1,100 albums of music in literally every genre of music you can think of. I know a lot of people say, oh, I do every style of music, but they really don't. For me, I can honestly say that I've done and do pretty much every style of music, from world music styles like Tahitian log drumming, Portuguese fado, and Mexican mariachi, to American styles of music like hard rock, heavy metal, classic rock. I do dance pop, I do EDM, house. I've done big band jazz albums, small jazz combo albums, smooth jazz albums. I've done R&B, tons of hip hop, country, old school country western, modern country. I've done everything. So if you have a question about something that you're working on, most likely I've at least done a few albums of it. I started when I was around 11 years old playing drums, and I fell in love with music. By the time I was 15, I was actually getting professional gigs playing drums for music theater and things like that. And that kind of got me really interested in doing music as a career. I loved recording, though. I always ended up recording. So as the drummer, I had to provide all the microphones for my drum set. The singer would show up with one mic, the guitarist would show up with one mic. I had to have all the mics for my drum set to record demos when I was in high school. And so that kind of started me getting interested in the process of making albums. And I went on to Berklee College of Music in Boston, and I got a degree in music production to be a music producer. I didn't want to just be a musician or just be a songwriter or just be a music exec. Kind of wanted to be all of them combined so that I could kind of make albums and release them. And that's literally what I do for Megatracks every day now. As a music producer, I also have a lot of experience dealing with music contracts and music publishing. I've done a ton of stuff with the performing rights organizations, and I negotiate tons of contracts for different things. So I have a lot of experience on the business side and on the revenue side, trying to track revenue, trying to figure out the different revenue streams and where the money's supposed to be coming from and why it isn't or why it is, things like that. So if you have any questions about royalties or how you get paid or anything related to the business side, I can also help you with that. And that's why I'm here. So if you need advice trying to construct a track around your lyrics and your melody, and you want to better support the lyrics and melody, that's what I'm here for. That's what I do. If you need help making something that sounds really professional and radio ready or Spotify ready, I mean, that's what I do. I do it every day. If you need help just kind of navigating the music business and the music industry, I've been doing it for 30 years. I can help you with that. If you need help negotiating a deal, I've done a ton of negotiations and had to deal with a lot of contracts. So, and the big thing with contracts is not necessarily what's in the contract, but what's purposefully being left out of the contract. And, those are some of the things that I can help you with, avoid some of the pitfalls. If you need help registering with the performing rights organizations and figuring out how to collect your royalties, I can help you with that too. Or if you just need help figuring out kind of a marketing strategy and a branding strategy for you as an artist to try to attract the people that would really like your music, I can help you do that too. I do that all day, every day with indie artists, and I also do that specifically with films, TV shows, and TV commercials, trying to make sure that the music is on point for the target audience. So I'm here to help you with whatever you need help with. I'm here to answer questions. I'm here to give guidance. And I'm really looking forward to meeting everyone and getting to know all of you. So hopefully I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.
All right, now it's time to talk about... Do you know what that is? That means it's time for the testimonial section. Yay! Oh, I just love these. It's almost like a coming attractions preview to your future life. Let's go!
I didn't realize how much I didn't know about creating songs. Everything from creating vocal melodies to matching words to these melodies, and how different words even sound differently when sung. Shim himself as an instructor is outstanding. His communication is phenomenal, and he's really able to cut through all the fluff to get down to the nitty-gritty of what we're actually trying to achieve, which is creating a song. Not only that, but he also really motivates you to dig deep and to draw from both emotion and experience, which I found incredibly helpful. Since learning from Shim, I've actually managed to go on and write for another artist. However, looking back on some of the lockdown sessions, which are still some of the best times in terms of songwriting in my life, one line that really stood out was, "You can't step forward with one foot in the past." And yeah, I'm pretty proud of that one. And again, I would have never reached the level that I have without Shim's instruction. I can't even say enough about the amazing community that he's created. So many like-minded, driven, and supportive individuals who really go out of their way to help each other out. It's been an absolutely incredible experience. And then I just wanted to add really quickly, also another part of the course that I really, really enjoyed is being able to look back on the lockdown sessions, because they were so much fun and such a great learning experience as well. So the ability to go back and do that and to relive that, and also to see Shim kind of in action in terms of teaching the songwriting process, has been really, really cool.
I'm a metal songwriter, and I've taken songwriting course in the past, and most of them were focused on technical aspects of songwriting. Very little courses focused on things like your intent on writing music, or your emotional attachment to music, or ideas or emotions you want to convey in your music. Shim course covers all this. From a guy who wrote awesome songs like You're Going Down and Maybe, and that one song for Resident Evil 2 soundtrack. Shim is great as instructor, very straightforward, he cuts all the crap and gets straight to the point. Me personally, I'm not a beginner, I have experience in writing music, however, I learned lots of new stuff in this course. For example, everything that's related to writer's block, we all hate when it happens, and Shim gives you all the right tools and right tricks to overcome it. Lockdown sessions, videos is another cool and fun part of this course, where you can see how Shim puts everything he talks about into action and actually writes songs on live streams. Also, these videos are quite funny to watch, and this is cool because you don't have to learn on something that is boring and made in academic language. The community itself is very positive and helpful. It's non-toxic, and everybody are open to give you some constructive feedback on your songs or to collaborate with you. It really is the best place on the internet, trust me. Either to begin writing songs or to get better at your craft. My advice is don't hesitate and get this course.
From this community, we all were able to watch each other grow and really become not only like the songwriters we were supposed to be, but also like, you know, the humans we were supposed to be. We were all very close, and like we were able to really just bond as a creative community. Like, I see some of these people now writing songs that have thousands and thousands of streams, and it's really nice to see these people that I really grew to love succeeding, just because we had somebody who was willing to show us. With Shim at the helm, it was always really, here's the song. Here's what you wrote. Now what do you think you can improve? And he wouldn't give us the answer, he would guide us to the answer. And I feel like we all gained some really good supportive friends in the experience because we were able to see through their eyes what they've been going through. And it really just connected us with these lifelong friendships.
Shim as a teacher is absolutely amazing. He is patient, he does exactly what you want a teacher to do. He pays attention to what you're doing, and he coaches you through where you're having trouble. He makes sure that you know exactly what it is that you need to work on, and he helps you through it. My feelings towards myself have changed so much since I've joined the Hollywood Rebellion. I have gained so much self-esteem. It's amazing to me that I didn't realize that my voice mattered. And it really does feel like it does within the Hollywood Rebellion. We actually are a community. We do support each other. We love each other. We want to see each other succeed, no matter what that success might be. And that's a beautiful thing to see. A lot of times when it comes to creative people getting together, they have the terrible tendency of being jealous of each other and competing, and that's not what this is about.
I learned so much from the course that I did not realize how much I didn't know about the finer details of the songwriting craft. Tim is an amazing instructor. He cuts through all the bullshit and he gets down to the deep core reason of what we're all trying to do when we're writing songs. He communicates all of this so much better than anyone else that I've ever encountered or ever seen. Everyone in the community is really supportive and creative. This is the best community that I've actually been a part of. It really helps me feel like I can try new things and just get better and better. I was a very timid writer. I've been writing for over 20 years, and the Hollywood Rebellion is actually one of the first communities that made me feel safe. It was a very safe place to bring out my creativity. It made me think outside the box. Shim makes things extremely comfortable, and he is just that guy that you're collaborating with who you can just talk to. It's changed my view on not being so timid, and it's let me open up and definitely become a better writer.
Everybody really gets a chance to be heard. He really interacts with every single one of you. He'll answer any of your questions with great detail. Take my word for it. And I really think that the level of interactivity and engagement, not only with Shim and the audience, but also the community it creates, is something that is entirely new in this modern age. And I think truly it's an unprecedented experience in rock and roll.
So there you have it. This is everything that you need to know about my masterclass and the Hollywood Rebellion community and everything that's inside the course waiting for you. In a second, you're going to have the option to click over to the checkout page. There is a 14-day trial. So if it turns out that you buy this, you get inside and it's not what you expected, you're totally risk-free, okay? So I wanted to give that as an option because I know that a lot of people are a little bit insecure when it comes to songwriting. I know I was. You get a little bit nervous about the idea of, well, you know, if I pay for this and then I'm really down the money, then I'm kind of going to have to throw my hat in the ring. I'm going to have to show people my songs. You don't have to do anything. You're completely risk-free. If you are the type of person who has thought, well, I'd like to write songs, but I don't really have what it takes, or it's not for me, or I've done it before and it sucked, or I've done it before and I didn't get any good feedback, this is perfect for you. If there's any part of you that's not sure, that's why the 14-day trial exists. I urge you to sign up, especially because we have this great offer that I'm going to tell you about right now. The first 50 people who sign up from the moment that this was uploaded are going to get 50% off from the masterclass. And you're going to be the OG rebels. You're going to be the original members, and you'll get a cool little badge inside and all that sort of stuff. But you're going to get a discount, and you're also going to have a little bit of extra access to certain things over time. After that, if you miss the cutoff for the first 50, don't worry. You're still getting a massive discount because I'm going to keep this section of the webinar open until everything that I'm working on right now here in these studios is complete and uploaded and organized and done. And at that point, this is going to be the most valuable songwriting and performance masterclass on the planet. And you will still be getting a massive discount. I'm going to raise the prices at that point and start doing advertising and all of that stuff. Right now, you are in at a very good time. So I urge you, and I get it, I really do. It is challenging to write your own songs or to perform other people's songs. If you want to get on stage and you're like, I don't want to write songs, but I really do want to perform and be a singer or, and put my best self forwards, and I've got all these blocks. This is for you. The performance section of the Hollywood Rebellion in my masterclass, you don't need to necessarily be writing your own songs. I have a feeling that once you get in there, you will start to want to. You will start to see the tricks and you'll start to get the juice, you get the feedback, and you'll want to start collaborating. There is a huge amount of collaboration inside the Hollywood Rebellion. If it turns out that you don't really want to sing your own songs, but you like writing lyrics and you want to contribute to lyrics, or you want to just kind of dip your toes in slowly. However you want to roll it out is going to work for you. Everything in there is designed to support you at whatever level you're at and give you as much time and space to grow into the artist or performer that you want to become. So click on over, grab the huge discount that's available to you right now, and we will see you inside. I cannot wait to meet you. Thank you for giving me your time.